This is when I do 90-degree plus push-ups.
Can I get that one to go, Big Pimp? Holy shit, that's tough. Most people won't be able to do that, but he knows that. Do you do like calisthenics? Like, yeah, watch this, I got abs. Oh my God, I'm just jealous. Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for RP Strength, a longtime professor of sport and exercise science, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grappler. Is that Jiu-Jitsu? That's how I was taught it. And competitive bodybuilder. And today I'm reviewing Mr. Chris Heria, possessive, apostrophe S, workout, and potentially some diet stuff. And I always thought that this person that I was seeing on social media was just Takeshi 6ix9ine. In any case, I like the outfit. The tattoos are cool. Tells me he's a gangster, so I better shut up and keep it polite. This is supposed to be the ultimate chest workout from home. Let's find out how ultimate it really is. 3, 2, 1.
What's up? It's Chris Heria. Welcome to another vlog.
What's up, Chris? Oh, we weren't supposed to be talking, right? It's just a one-sided thing.
Today I'm going to be showing you the best chest workout that you can do right from home using just a pair of dumbbells. When you're doing exercises for reps, you're likely not doing repetitions for 40 seconds straight, which is how long we'll be doing each exercise today.
So reps 40 seconds straight is actually pretty interesting because of the fact that I videotape most of my training sets, or most of my first sets, I'll say, in training, and upload them on Instagram. If you follow me, Dr. Mike Israel on Instagram, you can just track almost all of my training. But I do notice how long the sets are. And generally my hypertrophic sets are anywhere between 30 seconds to 1:15 in length, maybe 1:30 for some of the higher rep, more compound, large range of motion stuff. So 40 seconds straight of doing reps actually seems well within the hypertrophic range for many people. Now that would be modified, like if it's wrist curls, 40 seconds straight of wrist curls is a lot of reps, but maybe very robust stimulus. 40 seconds of a really meticulous setup deadlift may only be like 5 reps or something, but hey, that's the whole hypertrophy range. So this is kind of right on. I'm liking it so far.
And because you're not focused on counting your repetitions, you're actually able to focus on the quality of each repetition.
And that's brilliant. So a lot of folks get so caught up in counting the reps that they're just turn into like a bean counter. And what is termed a rep degrades into like whatever I can call a rep in my mind. So it starts out with a really good front range of motion, really good technique. And after a while, you're like, 14, 15, 16. Okay, I hit my number. I hit my PR. The RP hypertrophy app tells me to do. That's it. I'm done. And so sometimes it can be really good to come away from counting reps altogether to really focus on the technique. Now, we do that a lot in our warm-up sets anyway, with the way we train at RP. And I think there's definitely a way for slightly more advanced lifters to learn how to count reps without sacrificing their technique, because you only have to count at one point in the rep. You have all this time to think about technique. 1. All this time, only technique. I mean, you do remember you said 1 before. 2. And here's the thing, even if you don't count your reps, just videotape the set. You can count them back later. Put that number in your RP hypertrophy app. The big advantage, why am I defending counting? Because the big advantage in counting is you know your progression, you know what to do next week, you know if you're improving, you know if you're not, and then you know what to do about it. It's tough to have a race car do some laps on a warm-up track for tomorrow's race. And they get out of the car, you're like, how was it, fellas? And they're like, oh, we weren't timing you. Like, the f***? Like, hey, did it feel fast? Like, okay, thanks. Like, yes, of course it was fast. It will accomplish making me a marginally better driver. But for real specific situations, we want to measure stuff. And so measuring reps is good, but like he's saying, every now and again to get back away from it and really focus on technique, that's super spot on. I really like that take.
Now I'll be using a bench, and if you don't have one, you can always use an elevated surface like a chair or an ottoman. And if you don't have that, you can always do all these exercises laying right on the floor.
I like to be on the floor because I'm pathetic and dirty, and that's where I belong. Oh, we're watching a video together. Hello.
Now this workout is perfect for beginners all the way to advanced. What makes this difficult is the amount of weight that you choose and the amount of intensity that you choose to perform at.
Yep, that's good. So we got scaling by weight, really good feature. I'm liking this because it's not just like, take the 10-pound dumbbells. Like, what if I can do this for 100,000 reps? He's like, shut up, just pick them up. Like, this is good. You get to scale your weight, very good.
We're gonna go into inclined dumbbell bench press for a full duration of 40 seconds.
His technique is quite good. I would, of course, as you could predict, want him to stretch a bit lower. I like the incline dumbbell press for the inside dumbbell to touch the very outside bottom of the front delt / top of the bicep. If you can do that and pause for 1 second, you're putting your pecs under an unreal amount of stretch at a very high loading angle. And that's just going to result in lots of really, really good hypertrophy for a less total amount of going through the reps. And actually, you can use less weight as well because it's more challenging. You can have the range of motion reduce your weight for you, but the effect is even greater. So it's both saving your joints and making you more jacked at the same time. Kind of dope. Although it's not as impressive because you're not lifting as heavy of weights. But I was going to say that whole like, oh, well, what if the girl at the gym sees you, but this is at home. So there are no girls for you, especially. That's right. You listening right now. You ain't never been around. No bitches have you. That's all right. Your time is coming. Your time in the sun is coming. What I would recommend is get a house that's completely pure white. Bitches love that sort of thing. You invite them over and you're like, so what do you think? She's like, you're like really rich. And you're like, yeah. What do you want to do next? She's like, I don't know. I was kind of thinking like whatever you want to do. Guess what we're doing? At home chest workout. Start warming up.
2, 1. Let's go ahead. Take a 20-second break.
Yeah. Scott, the video guy, pointed out that there's a question mark on the reps in reserve. He's just demonstrating. Does he have Albert Einstein tattooed on his arm, or am I losing my mind? Does he do like this when he's like, yo, that's some Einstein shit? And people are like, oh, it's Einstein. I told you he was watching us. Always watching. It would have been cool to see that set get close to failure. Maybe for demonstration purposes, it's just not a thing. Tough to talk through a workout when you're going close to failure. But for those of you folks at home, if you do this workout, I would recommend getting a little closer to failure, getting the dumbbells to feel heavy and kind of slow down a little bit on you. Then you can transition. And 20 seconds is actually a really good time to rest between the next exercise. As long as you're not systemically super fatigued, you'll get a lot out of the next exercise and the next set and the next set and the next set. And then you'll actually be able to grow a lot of muscle, or stimulate a lot of muscle growth rather, in a very short time. This workout might not take any longer than maybe 20 minutes or even less.
Next exercise we're gonna get into is gonna be explosive push-ups. Do as many as you can on the ground. And if you get fatigued, you can always move up to an elevated surface.
Okay. Great advice. It's graded. You'd have to teleport yourself to another place and get a box and a different outfit. But sounds really, really good. The explosive part is optional. You don't get any much more hypertrophy or probably any more from being explosive. But it's really great direct transfer to a lot of daily activities and to, being able to have your little swag a bit while steps on your foot in the club. You're like, pimp, I ain't playing with you. And he's like, yo, and he starts looking down on you and shit. You're like, do you know how many plyo push-ups I did yesterday? He's like, look, man, let me buy you a drink. Please don't use your powers against me. And you're like, all right, I'm like Homelander in this motherfucker. Don't test me, bruh. So they come in handy for that. And they look cool. And it's great that once you get tired, he's like, look, get on a box. Another way to do this is if you get tired and you can't do any more, but you got to get to 40 seconds, which is typically my experience in bed. What? Getting on your knees is good. Jesus Christ, that was one hell of a transition. I can't get away from this. Seriously though, keeping a plank to the body, getting on your knees instead of your toes functions in 2 good ways. 1, it really makes easier the lever arm for your chest so you can keep cranking. And 2, you knew I was going to say it. Some more practice on your knees, just like for your day job.
Squeeze your grip, come all the way out.
That's really good.
Back up.
Nice and slow.
When you bring your arms down, you want your hands underneath your shoulders. That's
good. At minimum, you want to get as low as you can, pushing your chest out. This is great advice.
Making more of like an airplane instead of a cross formation.
Right. So I think he's saying instead of coming back at a 90-degree angle, you want to come down here to more 45. I would say that both are totally fine. You're going to just be looking at 2 things for yourself. One is, where do I get the best pump and contraction and tension and stretch and soreness for my pecs? Is it up higher? Is it down lower? And the other one is, how do my joints feel? If you do it up high and you're like glenohumeral joints clicking in pain every time and the pain gets worse every rep, don't do that. Come down here for a little bit. If down here feels like it doesn't hurt, but the pump's not that great, try up here and all of a sudden nothing's clicking and the pump is amazing, you got it made. So there's kind of no wrong answers in a wide range from here all the way down here for fly angles. I wouldn't over-index on any one particular, but what he's saying is great advice.
3, 2, and 1. All right, take a little break, 20 seconds. The next exercise we're gonna get into is gonna be dumbbell twisting incline bench press.
Whoa, that's a trip. I've never seen this one.
So again, we're gonna be working with the lighter weight. If you only have one weight, that's fine. Just go at a slower pace. This time we're gonna start like we're in a curling position. And from here, we're gonna press up, come back.
All right, that's neat. It's got kind of a reverse grip situation to it, and it's incline. The reverse grip has been shown to stimulate the pecs at least as well as incline. Incline plus reverse grip is like kind of a dope upper chest movement, to be honest. It's nice that he's rotating because it feels better. I would say the rotation is mostly in this exercise because that reverse grip incline is weird to finish up behind yourself. Feels like you're dumping the dumbbell. So as you twist, it lets you have a good finishing position that's stable. I'd say that's probably the best reason for the twist. This twist by itself for artistic purposes serves nothing. Like the Arnold shoulder press, when you twist, the twist doesn't do shit. You don't need to do that. I wouldn't say it's a wasted movement, but if it's taking up a lot of your cognitive bandwidth to figure out the twist, don't bother. On this, you kind of should do the twist because it positions you in a really good position at the bottom for maximum stretch on the chest and at the top for a stable lockout. So a good exercise. Never seen it before. Great exercise.
The next exercise coming up, I want you to do push-ups. This is when I do 90-degree plus push-ups, but at this point, it's gonna be super difficult.
Can I get that one to go, Big Pimp? Holy shit, that's tough. Most people won't be able to do that, but he knows that. So he just wants you to keep doing push-ups, I guess.
So I just want you to focus on push-ups, but if you're feeling more advanced, then go for the 90 plus push-ups with me. Let's go for it, 40 seconds.
Oh, hell yeah. That calisthenics shit, man. That's what gets motherfuckers getting pussy on top of pussy with that shit. Like, do you do like calisthenics? Like, yeah, watch this. I got abs. Oh my God. Ah. I'm just jealous. Your boy's jealous for being dry.
3, 2, and 1. All right, we're moving down to the last exercise.
There's a lot of exercises, Scott, the video guy.
Yeah.
Your chest is going to be cooked for a little while here. But it's nice, and it's rapid.
This is gonna be the last exercise. I want you to give it everything you got. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
That was not everything he had, but I suppose he's not demonstrating that, just the good technique. Technique looks good. He could go a little slower. This exercise is a really good exercise, decent for the chest, quite good for the triceps. Some people, it's too far for their arms to go back and they'll never feel comfortable there. Some people with really good shoulder flexibility will love this exercise. Give it a shot, see how you feel. If you can get a really good stretch and feel like you're producing a lot of force and get a great pump from this, it's the right answer. If that's not happening and your joints feel kind of bound up, maybe try to do some regular dips for a while.
All right, there we have it. And there you have the best complete chest workout that you can do right from home using just a pair of dumbbells. I have a crazy pump right now, and this is just round 1. I normally do this for at least 4 rounds.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Like so if you do this for 4 rounds, like Chris, definitely train with his intensity as well, which is to say nowhere remotely close to failure, because you'll need that saving of energy to get that far through the workout. And also, if you do each one of those sets really close to failure and you do 4 rounds, you might get so sore that your chest is more busy fixing itself than adding muscle. And you might actually have workouts that just beat you up and don't gain you nearly as much or at all muscle in the grand scheme. So yeah, okay. All right. Again, if we were trying to really save time, we could get real close to failure or to failure on every single one of these exercises. We could probably do like 3 exercises total, 1 set each with 20-second breaks all the way to failure, maybe 4. And then we would have like one hell of a chest workout we could do every week. But this is also a way to do things just a little bit less time efficient because you're never pushing yourself hard enough, and thus you need more rounds of the stuff to get good work. But for beginners, this is great because they shouldn't be pushing themselves hard anyway. Any training works for beginners. You get in there, you move around, you do the 40 seconds thing, good technique, and eventually you can make your training tougher when your body's ready for it.
In my opinion, this is gonna be the best way to start eating healthy and to stay on track. Now, the very first thing you need to do when you've decided to start eating healthy is to identify all the healthy and nutritious foods that you love and enjoy.
Cheeseburgers? No. Funyuns? No. Ice cream?
It's gonna be a lot easier if you're eating the things that you like versus taking on a new diet or someone else's meal plan when you don't like the food that you're eating. That's not gonna last.
That's got something to it, for sure. Choose at least foods that are familiar to you and foods that you can prepare and that you can at least tolerate. And then you got a good chance at executing a good, healthy diet. If the foods are healthy and you like eating them, you got a real winning combination there. But also, it can't just be one type of food or 2 types. It's got to be enough to provide a decently varied menu throughout a typical week so that you're not always eating the same shit, because that's a real good way to burn out of a diet. Is you just eat the same shit all the time until you're like, that, let's go to Taco Bell. And then I don't see you again for days.
So here you can see what I personally love to eat. We're gonna start with our proteins. I love chicken breast. I love shrimp.
Nobody ever says that with a fucking straight face. Chris Bull, you don't love chicken breast. You eat it because it gives you abs. Same.
I love.
Now, see, he said love in a different intonation there. That's a VIP motherfucker. You got a kitchen like that, you probably got someone working for you making you shrimp all day long. Forrest Gump type of shit. Scott's video guy, you like shrimp? That shit was good. Feels a little too VIP to eat for like regular meals. Because you're like, why am I like, I might as well put on a monocle if I start eating shrimp for my 3 p.m. post-workout meal. I don't know, man. Fancy occasion for me for shrimp.
I love salmon.
Salmon's dope. Salmon has a lot of fat in it, but healthy fat is totally great. If you account for that in your calories, it's a great choice.
And I also love red meat. Every now and then, I don't eat it too much, but I definitely have it at least once every 2 weeks.
Whoa, that's pretty rare. For the record, red meat is perfectly safe and healthy to eat, and kind of as often as you like, as long as your calories are in check and you're exercising and eating other nutritious foods. So there's nothing like that you should be avoiding red meat like this. But some people just don't like to eat red meat a lot. I don't like to eat it a ton because I chew the shit. It just gets so goddamn annoying.
I love asparagus.
Especially if you want to pee weird smells.
I love broccoli. I love spinach. I love bok choy.
Insert racially appropriate joke for bok choy here. I'll let you guys do it yourselves. This is all really good stuff. So far, what I really like is a core of proteins and a core of greens is how you build healthy meals. We're lockstep right here. Guys, there is still more video to come, but if you're a member, you can get the actual unedited, uncut, quadruple X. What does that even mean? In our members area. Check it out. There's tons of other great videos and insightful information. Back to the video though.
My goal is to stay around 175. Personally, I feel like I'm at my prime at that weight, and if I do add on more weight, a lot of the other bodyweight exercises that I do, they get a bit more difficult.
Yeah, calisthenics has a real serious bodyweight concern, and that makes perfect sense.
If I'm under my desired weight, I'll be on a caloric surplus, which means eating more than my average caloric intake.
Beautiful. And 300 calories over average is just enough to move the needle, but not so much that it's going to make you super fat really quick. This is really good advice.
But remember, you don't want to overdo it and go way over your caloric surplus. I would just be about 300 calories over my average intake. And that goes for the same if you're trying to lose weight, meaning I'll be eating around 300 calories less than my average caloric intake.
300 calories is fine advice. Now, for many people, that will result in weight loss that takes a long time to do. If you have 16 or 20 weeks to give to this kind of healthy diet with a 300 calorie deficit, it's going to work out really well. If you're more in the tune of dieting kind of 6 to 12 weeks, something like a 5, 6, or even 700 calorie deficit, especially if you're larger, well over 200 pounds, can be much more to the point. You lose the weight quicker, and then you get into maintenance quicker, and the whole thing gets done quicker. But 300 calories less than average, if you can stick to it, is mighty fine advice.
And that's why you want to stick to the leeway of around 300 calories. If you're eating way too much, you're going to be gaining fat, and if you're eating way too little, you may be losing muscle.
Facts.
The next step is to plan when you're going to eat your meals. Doing this, it's going to be easier to stay on track and avoid eating other unhealthy and unnecessary food or bad snacking in between meals.
Snacking can fuck you up. I know people that were baffled as to why they didn't lose weight, and they counted all the calories for their food, but then I was like, this is a goddamn thermodynamic mystery. And I finally got the idea. I was like, do you have any snacks? And they're like, oh, all the time. I was like, oh my fucking God. What's a snack? Like, well, when I walk by like Debbie, she's my assistant. She's great. Like, okay. She brings in like little like sample boxes that she keeps on her desk, little mini Snickers bars, like all these nuts. And during Christmas, you got the fucking the green and red M&Ms. And I'm like, okay, so often do you eat that? Like, well, like every time I go in and out of the office, I'll usually grab a handful. I'm like, how often do you? Like 8 or 9 times a day? Like, I got it. You're at a 1,000 calorie surplus from fucking green and red M&Ms, which are so goddamn good. How can you even argue against that? Especially if they're the M&Ms that have peanuts or almonds inside of them.
It will also help you stay on track with your diet because you already know what you're gonna eat and how much, giving you a way higher chance of success. Using myself as an example, I like to train first thing as soon as I wake up.
Damn, we're waking up early, Scott. You see this Rocky Balboa 10 a.m., baby, I'm up. Don't worry, it could be 10:30 if your boy's a little sleepy, but that'll by 11 for sure I get into the
Doing some type of training for at least 30 minutes.
By the way, all jokes here, because getting a lot of sleep, enough sleep for you, is so much more important than when you wake up in the morning. It's not comparable. So if you're like, I'm trying to wake up at 6 in the morning for the fitness bull, but I can't really fall asleep until 1 a.m., so I'm chronically underslept, but like fitness is good, don't you dare. If you have to wake up at 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 and then start your workout, and that makes you have enough sleep, usually about 8 hours a night, That's way better than trying to push it. There's nothing magical about working out early in the morning, even though it's a hardcore thing many people do.
After that, I'll get started with work, and then around 2 to 3 p.m., that's when I'm gonna eat my first meal.
All right. Probably should eat sooner. I would eat right after training. The anabolic window is wildly overhyped, but it's not completely overhyped. So there is absolutely some logic to eating a high protein meal, probably with plenty of carbohydrates within an hour of you finishing training. He's spending a couple hours here, so that's not ideal. Your muscles are real sensitive to nutrients when you stop training, probably for several hours after, more like 6 hours. And your fat, it kind of tries to grab the nutrients but can't because the muscle got them first. In a certain sense, they compete with each other. And so right after you train is a real good time because a lot of that food is going to support muscle growth and prevent muscle loss, more of that food than usual. And thus less of that food is left over for fat. So the net nutrient partitioning, which muscle or fat does your food go to, improves in the post-workout window. That doesn't cause massive changes in long-term gains, but on the margins, it does help. And also after I train, if I try to go to work and I haven't eaten, I don't get a lot of work done, but my brain doesn't exactly work normally. How could it with my head looking like this? You guys really think I'm normal? Come on now, I'm not even human. All right, folks. Chris Heria. Seems great. Really straightforward, decent, somewhere between decent to very good advice. Doesn't seem to be like a lot of BS going on. Seems like he really honestly wants to help. And again, the tattoos say, "Arr," but the face says, "Hey." So he seems like a nice man you can take to your family. Chris is a decent human being, seemingly, who gives very good advice out of 10. And I think he has a YouTube channel which is quite large. And I would go watch more videos of his. Doesn't matter if you watch them for learning or if you watch them on mute just to see his face do those beautiful things that it does. What? I could see this person in real life. Wouldn't it be awkward? Yes, it would. See you guys next time. All right, folks, that was super fun. Right over here is a video YouTube desperately needs you to click. I'd click it if I were you. Don't mess around now. See you next time.